Our story begins more than 60 years ago inside an abandoned chicken coop, where our founder discovered a retired teacher living, no home, no health care. So she said no to this injustice and yes to transforming lives. It's this drive, this compassion, that inspired AARP. Today, we empower people to choose how they live as they age. As a wise friend and fierce defender, we advocate for better health, financial security, and stronger communities. AARP, join us in making a difference.
Some of the ingredients of American soul food can be found in your backyard. Items like kale, Swiss chard, and mustard greens can grow easily in any setting. And that is the awesome thing about American soul food. So join us today on this episode of Food Without Borders. We're welcomed into the backyard of our co-producer, Hibiscus Group.
Fresh pieces of Tuscan kale, clipping them from the backyard garden of Hibiscus Group. As he clips each leaf, he's thinking about how many people am I going to feed with my Gumbo Z'herbes. I want to make sure I have enough fresh vegetables to feed everyone with my dish.
So the first step in preparing your Gumbo Z'herbes is to prepare your herb sachet. Sachet comes from the term, a French term, sachet d'épices, which means small bag of spices. And so that's what you'll see us prepared. We're gonna put together this herb sachet using, we'll use 2 bay leaves, allspice berries, and fresh thyme. So the next step in preparing our Gumbo Z'herbes is putting together the holy trinity of soul food. So we have white onion, we have a green bell pepper, and we have celery. I'll start off with the onion, and I'm gonna cut this. And I'm making these slits, cutting them all about the same thickness. That way the onion cooks evenly, cooks at the same time all throughout. And from here, now I'll dice. Awesome thing about soul food, much like any cuisine, is the fusion of different cultures, the different peoples that influence that cuisine. So I like that it's a growing trend to call it American soul food, but it has influences of French cuisine, of native cooking techniques and ingredients as well. We have the celery, we have the onion, and the green bell peppers. And again, as the Creoles say, this is the holy trinity of soul food. Holy trinity of Creole cooking, as some would say it also. So that was the white onions we diced up. Next, gonna cut up the green peppers. Move this to the side. Make room. And so for this recipe of our Gumbo Z'herbes, I'm gonna use half of this small head of green cabbage. And we're gonna chop this cabbage up into about 1-inch cubes. And just like with everything else, we want it even so that it cooks even. I'll use a different knife. So I diced these I diced the celery pretty thin. Again, celery doesn't have a strong, overwhelming flavor. It is fresh. I don't know. I think of effervescent. I think that's how you pronounce it. Is that how you pronounce it? And so I don't add in like big chunks of celery. So the history that I'm familiar with, and that is fact, it's true, is that gumbo comes from a word in Kikongo. And so Kikongo means the people of Congo. It's the language that the people of Congo speak. And so it's one of our oldest languages. There are hundreds of variations of Kikongo. And so in that language, the word for okra is kingombo. And then there's another dialect called Lingala that's a more modern language. And in Lingala, the word for okra is ndongo ndongo. And I won't go so much into the history with that, but okra comes from Angola. It comes from that region. The word gumbo follows the people that traveled or that were taken from Angola and brought to the Deep South. And so in New Orleans, you have gumbo, and you have other items also that we'll talk about, including the red drink that we're going to prepare. And in my region, in our country, we call it, in Congo, let me say, we call it ngai ngai. And so Angola was a subsidiary to the Kingdom of Congo. The Kingdom of Congo housed what we now call 5 different countries, were all under this kingdom. So Cameroon, Gabon, Angola, Central African Republic, if I'm not mistaken. All 5 were under the Kingdom of Congo. So the people followed, and they brought this food because they knew that okra could grow anywhere. And the Portuguese were in pursuit of things like green pepper. And when they came across okra and realized that it's an even more sustainable crop than green peppers, they knew they found something special. Over here is the hibiscus tea. We're gonna get started with that. We have a pot of water, and it's at about a medium high heat. And we have our dried hibiscus leaves. And so this will go into the water. You want to do that before the water comes to a boil, so that the leaves really steep into it. You want all the flavors of the hibiscus in there. And these dried hibiscus leaves are very strong, so it doesn't take a lot to, get that red color in your drink. So that's where we're starting. We're gonna have this boiling, and after it comes to a boil, we'll let that keep going at about the same heat for another 10 to 15 minutes. Just lay them down flat on to the cast iron. No oil, no grease, no fat. Just like that.
While the okra is cooking and the tea is continuing to simmer, Chef Emerson gets ready to prepare the Gumbo Z'herbes.
In this next step of making our Gumbo Z'herbes, first step, in fact, the pan is on. I have it at about a medium heat because we're gonna get that butter smoky. We want it to just about smoky. So we'll have the butter, 2 sticks, about 8 minutes, and then we'll sprinkle in the all-purpose flour. I'm gonna lower the heat a little bit just so that the butter isn't burning down, right? Because we want it to get to smoky kind of flavor, but we don't want it to get there fast, right? That'll give us a burn taste. We are working towards a dark roux though, and that's the reason for getting this butter to the smoky point. Almost just about smoky point. Electric burners. Fat over. So our roux is now at that color we like. This is a milk chocolatey color that's mentioned in the recipe. And at this point, we're ready to add our onion, green peppers, celery, and shallot. Now that we've added in our green bell peppers, the diced green bell peppers, and I added the salt, I added ground black pepper, again to build up the flavor of each of those ingredients, the salt, the green pepper, now celery. You'll notice, so the first thing I added was the white onion. Reason, we want that white onion to get to translucent. We want the green peppers to have a little bit more time to cook, right? It's a bigger vegetable, if you can think of it in that sense, right? It's those dices are thicker than the onion. So the second one to go in is the green pepper, and then I'll throw in the celery, and it doesn't need a lot of time, right? And so the celery's in, and I'll add a little more salt, building up the flavor. Ground black pepper. That's a nice dark color. Very dark roux. Our hibiscus tea is now done boiling. We're gonna turn the heat off and let that cool down on the stovetop or on the cooling rack. And after it cools down, then you can transfer that to your dispenser and put that in the freezer for some time, or you can put it in your refrigerator overnight for a few hours. And next step, now we're back to our gumbo portion. We are adding in our shallots. Just let that go for a little bit. Remember, I lowered the heat, and so I will raise the heat up now. Just about. And so the okra will serve it as you could have it as a side. You can garnish it on the gumbo when you serve it into your pot for your guests. And it's a really beautiful display to just have that charred okra sitting on top of that nice dark roux Gumbo Z'herbes. As the tea is still hot, that's the best time to add your sugar. Unless, of course, you made sugar water, all right, which is a simple recipe. You'll see us make that in another episode. But again, very simple recipe. That's just water, sugar, let it boil, and sugar dissolves perfectly in heat, as we know if you enjoy tea or coffee. So heat and the motion, stirring, is going to help dissolve that sugar into our hibiscus tea. Not much sugar needed for this. I like to add those vegetables in again by thickest, right? Thickest So the cabbage has a harder texture. I want that to cook for longer, so I'll add that in first. And then I added in our collard greens. Again, it's a bit thicker of a bite than the kale. Kale feels a bit lighter, and so I chose to add the collard greens in before the kale, and then I'll add our turnip greens, which to me I can describe it as a little more fluffy. Not fluffy at all, but it's lighter, and so I'll add that into the end. And now we're adding our turnip greens.
While the vegetables are cooking, Chef Emerson is carefully moving the wooden spoon to encourage the roux to cover all of the vegetables as they are cooking down. He is carefully moving this sachet of herbs to ensure that there is full flavoring throughout the pot while the vegetables are cooking. And here is the finished product, a simmering pot of Gumbo Z'herbes prepared in a cast iron pot by Chef Emerson. The recipe follows the instructions that he showed us in this video and can be downloaded when you download the video on our YouTube channel. For presentation purposes, we served it in a big white open bowl with the charred okra adorning it as Chef Emerson recommended. We also recommend serving it with hot cornbread made easily in your oven. And what better drink to top off or to complement your Gumbo Z'herbes than a fresh, cold glass of hibiscus tea? We made these foods during the nation's celebration of Juneteenth. We recommend American soul food as a way of honoring the historic past of emancipation and the end of slavery. Chef Emerson demonstrated he was able to prepare the fresh hibiscus tea while cooking the Gumbo Z'herbes so that both could be enjoyed on Juneteenth or any day. This concludes our episode of American Soul Food, brought to you by Food Without Borders and AARP, Pennsylvania. We look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Eat well and stay healthy.